Jesus Talk Time, April 6, 2026, Romans 6 verse 4.
Therefore we are buried with him by baptism into death, that like as Christ was raised up from the dead by the glory of the Father, even so we also should walk in newness of life. The initial controlling image presented is burial. We are buried with him by baptism into death. In the context of Scripture, burial signifies more than a minor adjustment or partial restoration. It serves as a definitive indication that an old existence has concluded. Paul emphasizes that Christ did not merely motivate moral enhancement, rather, the believer is so fully associated with Christ's death that it can be described as a burial with him. The death reference pertains to Christ's unique and final death concerning sin's claims and penalties, and Paul utilizes baptism as the designated symbol and public representation of entering into that death. Consequently, baptism is not seen as an isolated ritual. It embodies the gospel in symbolic form, signifying that the previous life dominated by sin has been terminated through Christ. The subsequent theme is resurrection, that like as Christ was raised up from the dead by the glory of the Father. The intent behind being buried with Christ extends beyond mere negation. It marks a shift into a new existence. Christ's resurrection is depicted as an act of the Father, raised up by the glory of the Father, which highlights God's power, majesty, and faithful realization of his purpose. Here, glory conveys a sense of divine significance and brilliance capable of achieving what no human power can, generating life from death. Therefore, Paul anchors the believer's new life not in personal determination but in the same divine action and authority that resurrected Jesus. Building on this foundation leads to ethical and spiritual implications. Even so we also should walk in newness of life. In the KJV, walk often refers to one's lifestyle, daily behavior, direction, and habits. Paul is not simply outlining an internal experience, he describes a transformed way of living resulting from union with Christ. Newness of life signifies more than just an improved version of past existence. It represents a completely different kind of life influenced by resurrection power and focused on God. The term should carries weight. It indicates an obligation stemming from identity. Since believers have been united with Christ's death and resurrection, adopting a new way of living becomes a natural reflection of that union. In its broader framework, Romans 6 verse 4 forms part of Paul's discourse on how grace prevails, not by condoning sin but by liberating individuals from its dominion. The importance of this verse lies in its connection between Christian identity, practice, and Christ's historical actions into one unified truth. The believer's past is addressed through burial with Christ, their present is directed by walking in newness of life, and their hope relies on the same glory of the Father that resurrected Jesus from death.
Thanks for watching.